Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly review show for The Walking Dead. This week is Season 8, Episode 15, Worth. So, what's that?
I said, what are you worth?
What are you worth? And that's Jason, as usual. I'm not worth much. So, it's all on you. I'm pretty worthless.
I wouldn't say that, Chris.
Nah, I'm an asshole. That's all right, though. Nah. Okay, so overall feelings on the show for this week.
I enjoyed it, but I'm way more excited for next episode.
Yep. They've actually said that the war is going to end. Something I was a little worried about, talking about last week, that are they going to actually wrap all this up? It still seems it still seems a little unbelievable that they're going to have everything wrapped up next week, but they're saying the war ends next week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also hesitant because trying to wrap up this whole conflict in one episode.
It's going to be an hour straight too. It's not going to be an hour 5 or an hour 10 because they got to go right into fear afterwards. So it's going to be a solid hour. They got a lot to do.
Yeah. They got a lot to do, so I'm worried stuff might fall by the wayside or plot might be rushed.
Yeah. Well, that isn't that amazing though, dude? They're so slow on some of this stuff, and then here we are at the season final, and it's like, how are they going to cram all this in? It's like, really, really, you had some time. Okay, so yeah, overall, I thought this was a good episode as well. We finally got I think the big thing, the highlight of the show was Negan confronting Simon and Dwight. We get the confrontation between Simon and Negan. Do you want to start there, or is there another place that you think we should start?
Well, I mean, Negan and Dwight works okay. You want to start off with Negan and Simon, though?
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So obviously the big thing is, who does Negan pick up along the side of the road? What are they going to know? What's going to happen when Negan gets back? He wants to keep it a surprise. Basically, we were talking about this just before the show.
Yep.
Negan plays this out as smartly as possible. He's pushing some buttons. He's seeing how people react. He's seeing what happens. He doesn't just jump on it right away, despite what we find out at the end of the episode that he knows, which is that Dwight has actually been a traitor the whole time.
Yeah.
And but he excuse me, he wants to see how far the rabbit hole goes down. And from doing that, it actually, something that he didn't know anything about was that Simon was trying to start the coup. Simon was trying to do a takeover. Now, he knew that Simon killed the trash people, but Simon didn't know if he was ever going to have to pay for that or not. Which I always thought was kind of a plot hole. I would think that eventually Simon would have to think that he'd have to deal with Negan on that, which does come up. We also find out that Simon was the one who called the order to kill all the men for the Oceanside group, wherever they were at that time.
Yep.
But yeah, so what ends up happening is Simon and Dwight. Well, Simon talks to Dwight to continue the coup, try to take over. Ironically enough, Dwight, now that Negan is back, thinks to himself, "There's no way this is going to work." He fears Negan something fierce, and so he, ironically, the traitor turns Simon into Negan, and they're at it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. He turns him into Negan, so Negan sort of sets the preparations for Simon's little coup. All of Simon's guys get gunned down. Simon challenges Negan to that fist fight, which was pretty awesome.
That was a great fight. That was a lot of fun, and I'm glad it wasn't just Negan beating the shit out of him either. Horrible way to kill somebody, just choking them to death. But no, it was good stuff all around. It played out really well. I think it's funny that Gregory seems to find himself around the shittiest situations possible. And that has everything to do with his choices. Although I will have to say at the beginning of the show, I could sit through at least half an hour of Gregory and Simon just talking shit about how great they are to each other. It was hilarious. They're both two great actors playing two very bombastic characters. Gregory just Gregory just going off saying no, it's not done. He's not done. He's got the juice. He's got the momentum, and this guy's just like, he's so lucky he's alive.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting that Gregory was, the one who ended up sort of flip-flopping back and,
Dude, he turns with the wind. He turns with the fucking wind. Bless you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. I love Gregory. I can't remember the actor's name. He's a great actor. As soon as I saw them introduce Gregory and the actor who's playing him, I'm like, all right, this is perfect. This guy's gonna play the shittiest motherfucker on the show, which he is, and it's gonna be done perfectly.
Yep. No, and he does a fantastic job.
Yeah. And kind of funny that when Negan's guys shoot everyone down, that they don't shoot Gregory. What is the point of keeping Gregory around at that point?
Plot convenience.
Yeah, really, it really is, because I can't think of a logical reason why Negan wouldn't just have his people shoot Gregory as well. There's no reason to keep him alive. The obvious reason is that in order to, well, no, I have to take that back, because Negan knows Dwight's the traitor.
Yeah.
And is probably going to use Gregory as a way to get that information. I take that back. So, no, there was a useful reason for Negan to keep Gregory alive. I take that back.
I suppose so, if you think Negan thought that far ahead.
He probably did. He probably realized that Gregory was the only way that he was going to get anything out at that point. So, I think the chemistry that we continue to see between Dwight and Negan's great. It's one of the few good things about why how they've been able to drag this story out so long. One of the things that doesn't happen in the comic is that we don't actually meet Dwight in the comic pre-Iron Face.
Really?
Yeah, he's already, by the time we meet Dwight in the comic, he's already had his face burnt. We learn the story of what happened after. It's kind of interesting in the show how we got to see this before. They did the same thing with the governor. When we get introduced to the governor, he's still, he's a dick, but he's not full on crazy governor yet, and that's something we don't get in the comics either. He's full on crazy governor when we first meet him in the comics, and it's kind of cool that the show has taken some opportunities to do the evolution of these characters.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that's how it was in the comics either.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah, well, and again, there's no Daryl, so there's no reason to, obviously when we first meet Dwight, it's with his wife and her sister, and they have that whole interaction with Daryl, which is still one of the more confusing episodes of the whole series so far. I still don't completely understand everything that happened in that episode. But anyway,
yeah.
So, but the chemistry between those two have been great, and Dwight, I mean, there's some serious acting chops. You can just because of everything that built up to that point, to where he's finally called out. Negan's caught him. You can feel the fear coming from Dwight, and that has everything to do with how he's acted up until that point and how he's acting right at that moment.
Yeah,
very well done.
Yeah, and it's been interesting seeing Negan come back, even maybe not necessarily stronger, but certainly bringing back that classic cleverness that
Right.
he's really brought to the show.
Well,
story wise,
he takes the opportunity. He's like, look, let's turn this frown upside down. Everybody thought I was dead, potentially losing the situation, potentially losing the sanctuary and the saviors. But instead, by the end of the episode, he is more powerful than ever.
Yeah,
and he's feeling it, and he's reveling in it.
Yeah. What did you think about the thing with the stuff with Eugene? We're jumping here.
Right. No, that's fine. Well, before we jump real quick, and this is something you and I commented about before the show. Zombie Simon is awesome.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we'll see him again, but that was great. That was great. And he's a biter too. He's trying to get free, and great stuff. Great stuff. Here's the thing: it depends on what they do in the next episode, because at face value, with what we know right now, that whole thing with Eugene and Rosita and Daryl seems almost pointless and worthless. And it's story building like that I think frustrates a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And now, if there's appropriate build off and build up from that into next week, into the season final, then I take that all back. But as at face value right now, it's like, what the hell was the point of this? You spent 10 to 15 minutes in this episode where you probably could have wrapped all that up in 5. And
yeah.
We'll see though, because I think there is a good chance that they're going to build off of that in a better way. But it's storytelling like that frustrates a lot of people with the show.
Yeah. Well, and Eugene in general, just yeah.
Are you not a Eugene fan?
I mean, I am, but like it feels like his character just keeps running in circles. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
Eugene goes out of the bullet factory, Eugene goes back to the bullet factory, Eugene comes out of the bullet factory, Eugene goes back to the bullet factory.
Well, and yeah, no, there's this season. A lot of people have not had great roles. Michonne, for the most part, has not had a great role, at least in the second half.
No, she's taken a very back seat.
Yeah. Rosita. I think this is the best and the most we've seen in Rosita. You can't. I mean, that whole thing where she shoots the rocket launcher in the first half of the season is kind of shit. So, and I'm a huge fan of Rosita. Oh man, that's a beautiful woman right there. And she's actually a good actress too. Daryl, I can actually take or leave Daryl at this point. I'm fine with Daryl. I'm not one of those if Daryl dies we riot people. I never have been. He's been a great addition to the show, but yeah, a lot of people have taken a back seat, almost too much so.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely agree with that.
Smaller regular characters like Father Gabriel, it's understandable. He's never been a huge part of the show, but guys like Eugene and Rosita, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay. Guys like Eugene and Rosita and such, they've taken a much smaller role, too much of a smaller role. And for Rosita, it's been a couple seasons now like that.
Yeah, like almost feels like we have too many characters at this point.
It definitely feels like there's too many characters.
Yeah, but they'll clear some ranks with the season finale, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we finally got to see what Aaron's up to. With the Oceanside group.
Yep.
So that that was fun. Definitely the encounter with Aaron and the Walkers was really neat. Someone who's just exhausted and starving and having to fight the way that they did. Again, that's a great actor pulling off a situation like that.
Yeah, no, that was it felt very realistic. It did not break my immersion at all once we were watching it.
All right, what else you got on notes?
You want to talk about Carl's letter?
Which one?
The first one, and then we can talk about the one at the end, and Michonne and Negan.
Let's talk about Rick and reading Carl's letter. Here's the thing about that. Do you think after reading that letter, Rick was like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have killed all those people yesterday"?
Yeah, he did, sort of.
It did seem like that.
Like, uh-oh.
I should have read this sooner.
Yep. But, here's the real question. Do you think that this actually signals any sort of actual change in Rick? Or was it just momentary guilt after reading Carl's letter?
I choose not to comment on that.
All right. Then you want to talk about Michonne reading Carl's letter to Negan?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a good plot point for Negan to say, yeah, well, it's too late now, motherfuckers.
Yeah, time for talk is over.
Yeah. Negan, ever since he's shown up in the show, there's things I love about how Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays him, and then there's things I don't necessarily like. That's one of those moments that was great. It actually more kind of a fleshed out thing. It's a little bit more 3-dimensional than what we see in the comics for quite a while for Negan. I've overall been pretty happy with it. There are times when I see Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Negan, I'm just like, God, you're just too damn skinny. This guy's supposed to be buff. Especially sometimes when he's not filling out that leather jacket. I'm just like, oh, dude, you got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen pictures of Negan from the comic?
I have not.
Oh, okay. He's Henry. You know who Henry Rollins is? The comedian, actor.
No, not off the top of my head.
All right. Well, all right. Maybe you should Google this stuff up. He's Henry Rollins and Superman mixed in together.
Okay.
All right. So I've been doing a lot of the talking here on this, though. Jason, what did you think about Michonne reading the letter to Negan?
I thought it was a good way to wrap up the episode. It felt like Carl's last hope for peace really sort of just vanished with this one, and like at first it was Rick who sort of like told Michonne that no, this wasn't possible, and now Negan saying the time for talk is over. So it really does feel like a good way to wrap it up and signal the beginning of this all-out war that we're going to see next season. Or at the season finale, I'm sorry.
Yeah, next week. So let me ask you, because it's not quite fair for me, because I can't comment on it too much. Obviously, in something like a wrap-up situation like that, I have high expectations from sources as to what I think is going to happen. So I can't really comment too much. But I want to know, what do you think is going to happen at the end of this? How does this war end? What's going to happen?
I think Rick is gonna live, but anything else I think is up for grabs. I don't really know what's gonna happen, but that's the exciting part about television. You never know what's gonna happen next.
The magic of television. That's just awesome how you said that. That's it for your predictions. Rick is fine, but everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who's gonna win?
Oh, well, good guys are gonna win. Duh. Negan's gonna die.
Savior's gonna lose. Negan's gonna die.
Yeah.
Who kills him?
Saviors are gonna lose. Negan's gonna die. That's my prediction.
Who kills him?
Probably Rick, if they want to go for the Greek Odyssey thing about the hero and the villain. Very, very classics.
All right. Negan's dying. Rick's killing him.
Yep.
Do you think at the end of all this, it's just gonna come down to Rick and Negan?
Yeah, I have a feeling that's what they're... they've been building towards this for 2 seasons. Rick and Negan.
Yeah,
if it doesn't go down to Rick and Negan, I'm going to be horribly disappointed.
Well, 2.5 seasons, actually.
Yeah.
They've been dealing with the Saviors since about the middle of season 6, and actually a little bit before then.
Yeah, alright, fine. 2.5.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It is very ridiculous. All right, you got it, though. Rick versus Negan at the end of all of it. All the people dying, all the bullshit, they just should have fought. The two of them should just... And, that's how they should do wars. And in some cultures in the past, that's how they have done wars. Each side, their best warrior goes in, and they fight. And that's, hey, we don't have to kill everybody. Let's just fight. It's you and me. 2 peeps fighting. All right, I obviously cannot comment on this. I know how this ended in the comic a few years ago. So obviously commenting on that would be very spoilery. So, but I love it. I love the prediction. All right, so next week we're gonna have the season final, and we're gonna have the season premiere for season 4. This guy, everybody, gets to watch all of season 3 yet this week. He has not, and for most of us, and for the vast majority of us, that's a treat. I've been pushing it off, but I got to get it done. You got a treat, man. You're gonna be happy with this. To be able to experience season 3 of Fear all over again. I mean, it's just not the same, but you get to experience it for the first time. This is the best season by far, and maybe one of the best seasons for both shows. Period. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week then.
All right.
Anything
Sounds
else?
Good.
Anything else we want to comment on?
No, I mean I've burned through everything I think we covered in the episode.
I think there was one more thing, but yeah, what do you think Oceanside's going to do? Do you think they're going to show up? Do you think they're going to come in and?
I think they might show up. Like sort of the reinforcements for the hilltop, maybe. If they can work themselves up into a fervor. Like we know that Oceanside has plenty of reasons to hate the Saviors.
Right.
So if it comes push to shove, I think Oceanside, or at least some of the people from Oceanside, might show up in support of the hilltop.
Okay, so now next week we're going to talk about your prediction, though.
All right, sounds good.
Do you think any of the good guys are going to die?
Well, yeah, of course. This is The Walking Dead,
I'm hoping for Enid.
You're hoping for Enid?
Get her out of here. Get out of here. There's no reason for her anymore. Bring back Sophia.
Really?
No, not really. With Sophia.
I'm thinking Carol. Carol's gonna bite the bullet.
You think Carol's gonna die?
I think Carol's gonna die. We've seen her wrap to her sort of storyline. You know, like she's come full circle.
I think Morgan's just gonna walk out. He's gonna be like, "All right, fuck you guys."
Well, yeah.
Of course,
we know Morgan lives because he's doing a crossover.
Right. I know.
I think Carol's gonna bite a bullet.
Yeah, Morgan's just gonna be like, "I'm gonna go clear over here on the West Coast." I hear there's plenty of things to clear over there.
Yep.
But okay, all right. I'm being too silly. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, for checking out our show here. Please subscribe, tell your friends, say, hey, these guys are kind of crazy, and they do a Walking Dead review, and it's lots of fun. Let us know what you think. Comment below. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it's going to end? Who do you think is going to die next week? Let us know. We want to know what you guys think, and we'll talk about it. We'll look at what everybody commented, and we'll see what everyone had to say. But until then, that is going to be it for us. We will talk to you next week. See you later. You're not going to say goodbye?
Oh, bye.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime, that's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find, maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.